Rain poured down from above. Adam was soaked and miserable. He had lost his sword and now his way. He wandered forward as night fell, but a faint light up ahead drew him in. It was a house. He rushed forward through the rain and knocked on the door. A young woman greeted him with a smile. She was instantly smitten with the soggy adventurer and brought him inside. As Adam sat down on the floor and thanked her while she sat down right beside him, pulling herself closer and closer, pressing into his shoulders. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we meet a rather dangerous sort of monster called Kiyohime. Let's see what you can do to stay safe from this particular woman. Her story dates back to the 11th century. It is the story of a Buddhist monk, Anchin from Mutsu. He was said to be a good-looking man. Every year, he would make a pilgrimage to Kumano, and every year, he would stop at the same lord's estate, Musago no Shoji family. This lord had a daughter, Kiyohime, or Princess Kiyo, who was smitten with the monk. Now, she was a troublemaker and poorly behaved, though she was said to be beautiful. The lord said that if she was well behaved, when she came of age, Anchin may take her as his bride. Now, you may notice, but there is an age gap between the two. Kiyohime is still very young, but Anchin made this trip every year until Kiyohime came of age. And she recalled the comment of her father. Anchin wasn't interested, and there are a couple of variants of the story here. In some, he flatly rejects her, but in others, he wishes to avoid a confrontation. Says that he will return for her on his return trip, and guess what? He doesn't. He chooses a different route to return home. But Kiyohime heard that the monk had taken a different route. Grief swelled up in her as she raced out into the night without even her shoes. She would catch up with Anchin and confront him. Here he lied and said that he didn't know her and had to get going. She was furious and lashed out. Anchin prayed to Kamano Gonchin, and a divine light came down to stun Kiyohime. That gave the monk a chance to run. He sprinted to the Hidaka River, where a boatman sat on the shore. Anchin asked to be taken across, but not for the boatman to bring the young woman who was chasing him. While partway across the river, Kiyohime was freed. Between betrayal and grief, and now divine intervention, she was overcome with pure, all-consuming rage, and it took her. She shed her human form and became a massive serpent or dragon-like form. In many tales, she is purely a serpent, but others leave her with a human torso and a long snake tail sprouting from the waist down. Her wrath becomes visible as flames as she gives chase and jumps into the river to chase the monk. He fled to the Dojoji temple and asked the priest there to hide him, and he did in the temple's bronze bell. But Kiyohime could smell him and wrapped her body around the bell and breathed flames upon it, turning it into an oven, which killed Anchin before the bell melted around him. Kiyohime then threw herself into the river where she drowned. Though the tale doesn't end there. In some versions, the temple priest finds the young monk's ghost haunting the temple and asks the priest to copy the Lotus Sutra. In doing so, he freed the ghost of both Anchin and Kiyohime to be reborn. Separately, there are a few variations to the story, but they all end the same, sadly. This tale is about the dangers of obsessive love, so I think we need to figure out why the girl transformed at all. That does seem to come out of nowhere. I don't think there's a clue to the family's name. It roughly translates as possession of the grain seed family. So I would have to assume that the cause of the transformation is tied back more to her behaviors. She was an ill-mannered brat, a complete and utter nightmare to deal with. It is possible that either she wasn't fully human, or might have already been possessed by a demon before. Potentially, there was a lost story there. This idea could be explained by the Lotus Sutra. Religious scriptures are well noted in banishing demons. It also could have been the divine intervention, which caused the change to punish the monk for lying. Now, we know how hot her flames were. She melted a bronze bell. Bronze melts at 950 degrees Celsius, 1742 degrees Fahrenheit. So yes, plenty hot enough to end a man's life. And that means her scales should be able to tolerate such a heat. You are probably thinking that she shouldn't have drowned then, that the flames of her anger would turn the water to steam and protect her. No, the source of her anger was dead, and that would have left her feeling empty, and the river will keep flowing until it is extinguished. Now, her biology should be fairly simple. The most complicated version should be the one with the woman's torso and the serpent tail. Now, serpents don't have a pelvis, but if Kiyohime has arms, that means muscles like latissimus dorsi should exist. Yet the teres major actually does the same thing, but with less strength. So you would still want the latissimus dorsi, and that connects to the hip, but also the spine. So it would be feasible to not have a pelvic bone. But she will need a sternum and ribs for the arms to work. It will leave the chest area less flexible than the rest of the serpent tail, but it does work. This area should hold her heart and lungs, while her stomach and intestines should be in the serpent part of her body. Now, if she does have the human torso, as seen in some versions of her tale, then it is possible that she is similar to the Reaver of French mythology. If not, she is more likely tied back to Yamato no Orochi. So, how do we prevent falling into the same fate as our poor monk? First off, be careful of young women with an obsessive attraction to the level of addiction. But here is the thing. She fell in love at first sight, and in some versions, he politely rejects her, and she still goes wacko. Try as you might, there is a good chance that she will find you, fall in love. Then what do? Option 1. Marry her and let her dote upon you for the rest of your life. Well, if you watch a fair bit of anime, you may notice what are called dairy types. Kiyohime falls into one of these quite well. The yandere, or crazy psychos, who often end up hurting their romantic partners. So no, don't try that. She will eventually go crazy and attack you for something like talking to another girl. You do that and you'll lose your eye. You could try using a disguised person spell for a bit and pretend to be a different person, but she will pick up your scent eventually, so you will need protection against her. First up, fire resistance, either in enchanted armor or potions. After that, we have her strength. She was able to cross a river without a boat. That does indicate a fair bit of strength. Whether she has the strength of a constrictor isn't mentioned, so let's assume that she does have the strength. That would make close combat dangerous, so range is going to be the best. But her scales aren't weak. You will need a strong bow at best. Now, I would want metal arrows over wooden ones. They could burn. Metal may melt if it is bronze, So go for something sturdier. Steel if you can. Magic is an option. We know that there is a limit to her heat. Less than a river. Ice magic may extinguish her flames and provide you with the opening you need. You'll want plenty of power here. If not, trick her into a river. Remember, you'll need to keep Kiyohime in the river for some time. You could also smother her flames with a landslide or trap her in a pit, though she won't go down easily. If forced into close quarters, you will want to aim for the chest. That is where her lungs and heart will be. Spears and polearms are going to be best at first, but as the fight progresses, swords and axes will offer you the best odds. With armor, spikes may prove useful to prevent her from wrapping around you, though I would avoid metal due to her flames. That is assuming it doesn't have the enchantments. A charm person or calm emotion spell will probably not work. She is far too angry. Try that as a last resort. Don't bother trying to outrun her. She can smell you, and she is relentless. Once she falls for you, she will never quit hunting you. You will need to face her down. She won't be easy to deal with. Thus, I am giving Kiyohime a 6 of 10 for difficulty. Don't underestimate her flames. Let's get this one out of the way. There is no conceivable way that you could ever work safely with Kiyohime. She is too jealous to even risk it. So, if you slay her, and you need to, you will get her scales. They are strong and fire resistant, perfect for creating leather armor and shields. The rest of her remains aren't too useful, but there is an issue. Her father was a lord. There will be a high chance of retribution if you do harm her, so please be careful. Where is he? He said he would come back. And he isn't here. Where did he go? My love, come back to me. Now, get back here. Get back here. The woman ranted and raved in her house. Adam left an hour ago. So why hadn't he returned? He should be back. Too long. He was taking too long. She stormed about. Any beauty she had quickly faded as she turned to a monstrous visage. She should go look for him. She had to. Adam should be back. Kiyohime is a dangerous woman. One that if you still her heart, she will hound you until the end. Be careful with obsessive lovers. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for the Baltru. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.